Hi, friends. How are you? Hopefully, good. Welcome on in. I'm very excited to be a part of this one new series that I would like to do that I'm planning on doing. Um, we are doing, it's called Cover to Coven. We are starting with a Sunrise on the Reaping. It's Hamish Abernathy's Tale. Friends, if you don't know me, my name is Roll the Misadventures. You can call me Turfindial or T. Welcome on in. I am joined with Mystical Val as well as Sora underscore DIT, where we get to kind of go through the first three chapters of Sunrise on the Reaping. And I was so very, very, very excited to read this, to start to read this. Because I have been a huge fan of the Hunger Games series, and I love Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. Read the books, saw the movies, loved them both, and the fact that I'd always wondered about Hamish's Tale, and the fact that I now get to read it and experience it for the first time, and then tell you all what I think is great. And then I think the plan is to go to the Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, and then eventually get into the Hunger Games series themselves. But I'm very excited, and then delve into some other series as well. Maybe even the Divergent series, which is by far one of my most favorite book series, aside from Lord of the Rings. Actually, Divergent is definitely one of my favorites. So, yeah, very excited to have these two along with me. What have they said to me? What is she saying to me? But if you haven't checked out Mystical Val, make sure you go check out Mystical Val over on her channel. And drop her a follow if you haven't. So, I don't know what y'all are doing if you haven't dropped her a follow. So, yeah. Apparently she forgot that I was going live too. Right. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and bring them in. What do we think?
Oh, yeah.
Hi, friends. Hello.
Hello. I just switched over. Hello. I was like, why is T server muted? I didn't server mute her. Right, forgot you were going on too. Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
I
on.
Oh, I suppose I should, go turn on my sister's stream too.
Probably.
I was getting up.
I guess he said fuck you.
I guess he did.
No, I'm getting up. Getting up.
All right, friends.
I'm
Welcome
not
on
important.
in.
I'm not lying.
Apparently not. It's funny. He's here and he still has to catch up because he's still waiting for his copies to arrive.
Slacker.
Stupid.
Maybe if someone had told me they were planning on doing a book club with it, I would have bought one at Barnes and Noble when the other two did.
Okay, well, in all fairness,
You
we
know,
didn't know we were doing a book club.
yeah, I was gonna say we didn't even know we were doing this.
It
So
literally
shut up.
like she bought the book and then I was like, oh yeah, I want to read that too. And then I was like, wait, let's do like let's restart the Coven to cover thing, or the cover to Coven thing. She was like, yeah, we totally should. And at that point we had basically left Barnes and Noble. So
Oh, we so did. It was literally like I think we were on the way to whatever we did after Barnes and Noble, and we were like, we were talking in the car on the way back to wherever. It's like, hey, why don't we restart Cover to Coven and start the book and stuff like that? And Sora goes, I would have picked up a copy if I knew that you guys were going to do that.
I switched us over to live, by the way, because I saw T had switched. And you never
Okay.
gave me the command. So now you can welcome everyone.
Oh, so I've been muted this whole time?
Yes.
Fuck you.
I told you. I told you that.
Fuck you.
When I went live.
Fuck you. Shut up.
ooh.
When and where?
I'm going to murder him tonight. Ugh. Welcome on into Cover to Coven, guys, where we will be having a ton of fun starting book club finally because I came up with this idea, God, probably about a year ago, and me, Jackie, and Sora were supposed to do the book Loki, and we never started it because we all got behind in reading, and then it just never happened. That will be coming. But for now, we have started, at least me and Turf has, Sora's got to catch up, as we said. We have started Sunrise on the Reaping, which is the newest Hunger Games prequel after, well, it's the newest Hunger Games prequel. And let me just say, between the calmness of the first chapter and then chapter 2, Sora, you're gonna have a whole fun catching up and reading 6 chapters. I haven't even started chapter 4 yet, but that's a whole nother thing. What are you excited about, T, doing this? And Sora? What are we all excited about with this?
I personally, it was it was fine. I mean, it was finding another Hunger Games fanatic like myself, which we kind of like figured out through the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because you went to see it and I was like, wait, you're a Hunger Games fan? Wait, what? I was like, don't tell me anything. And then, so it was kind of nice. And then I'm very excited to read this book. I have always loved Haymitch. Haymitch has been one of my favorite characters through the entirety of Hunger Games and Catching Fire. So I'd always wondered about his games. And I'd always wondered how... I kind of thought that... Not to get into it too much here, because we will, but I always thought that, like, it was just a normal reaping, where his name was picked from a bucket. And well, there's that. We'll get into later. And and it's nice to see, like I said, go back and see Haymitch's, and then go back and see through Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I've only seen the movie. I've not read the book. But kind of see President Snow and his story. So, who is also one that I actually grew to love throughout the Hunger Games. I started out hating him, but as the show progressed, I was like, or the movie progressed, I was like, all right. So that ending where, spoilers if you haven't seen Hunger Games, but it's been long enough to fuck you. The ending of Hunger Games. This is very
true. Hunger Games has been out for, oh God, it's going to be 10. It has been 10 plus years because it came out in 12.
Yeah.
Right.
Where Katniss shoots coin instead of snow. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was one of those things where I didn't expect that with that one. But at the same time, I read through Hunger Games book 1 through, like, in a week. So I was like very like I was still in school at the time, so I had read it. I was reading it during class when I probably should have been doing schoolwork. One time during science class, I was reading, and my science teacher knew where I was because I started crying with Rue, and I'm like, God damn it. Mockingjay for me, and Catching Fire was another one that was really good. But I had the hardest time getting through Mockingjay because a lot of Mockingjay was about the damn cat. And I'm like, and like the whole Katniss dealing with everything after the Catching Fire games, the Quarter Quell and everything like that.
I think the thing, it kind of broke all of, I think, everyone's hearts. Maybe not yours, though, and probably not Sora's. as far as the Hunger Games series is concerned, is when it was in Catching Fire, I believe, when she was in the games, and you see Cinna just basically get
Oh,
beat down in front of her, which is it's
Cinna.
explained so much better in the
Cinna
books.
deserved better.
But yeah, like
But the thing I hate about it was really explained well in the books. The thing I hated about the movies, and I'm gonna bring in 1, 2, and 3 for a minute. Rue's death seemed rushed. So did Cinna's and Prim's. They all were like brief moments, if anything, with like no build up whatsoever. And that really pissed me off because I was like, these are big moments in the books, and it's just, hey, here, 2 seconds of screen time, goodbye.
Yeah.
In the books, they were like defining character moments that shaped who Katniss became.
and the line when Katniss meets with Snow is after Prim dies of, we all know that I'm not against, murdering kids, but I am against being wasteful. Is kind of a turning point, I think, for Katniss in and of it's herself, because I mean, it's true. He was never above killing kids, but Prim was someone of useful. Like, I don't think that he would have ever, unless she was actually got drafted into the games, I don't think he would ever, especially had like Katniss, had a normal Victor life, he would have never found he would have gotten her out of the games, I feel, for some reason, because of her talents as far as a healer and a medic kind of deal. So
yeah, Snow may have been a dick, but he was a cold, calculating, efficient dick.
Here's where I say this, and I don't know much because we haven't read Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes yet. He really isn't as much of a dick as you think he is from the movie.
Well, I haven't seen the movie or read the book yet. I'm going
The movie
off
was
the original trilogy.
Oh,
no,
so a
and that
ballad,
makes
you haven't
sense.
even seen Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes yet, Sora.
He hasn't
No.
even no.
Oh, okay. I'm going into the book blind, but I did see the movie. So
So there's going to be even characters that me and Turf are going to be mentioning tonight that at least one of them he's going to have no clue on any of it tonight about her. I know nothing about her from the book. Like we both have seen the movie, and that's all we've really seen of Lucy. That's all we really seen of Lucy. And I'm excited to, when we get to that book, why. And this brings me into another question that maybe will be answered in Sunrise on the Reaping. Why is Lucy Gray's, like, why is she just disappeared? Like, she's just disappeared. The whole thing is gone. Her winning, everything like that, gone.
yeah, because in Hunger Games, they had mentioned that District 12, excuse me, words are hard, had only had one winner, meaning Haymitch.
Right.
Yeah.
So why is hers gone from, like, history and stuff like that? There's got to be some kind of thing, maybe even mentioned in this book, that explains that, but we don't know, because this, I feel, is even before Lucy, or maybe it's after. I'm not sure.
Haymitch's is after, because Lucy was the very first one.
Okay, so it's after. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Getting into chapter 1. Chapter 1 was quite something. We opened up with Haymitch. We find out that Haymitch is born on the days of the reaping. His birthday is July 4th. And, like, we find out that he... What was his brother's name? I'm trying to remember what his brother's name was. So we find out Haymitch has a brother... Sid. And, like, we basically start off, it's on reaping day, it's his birthday, and that he has work to do with his mother and that he's hoping to get to his girlfriend before the reaping and stuff like that. What did you think of the first opening of the chapter and stuff like that? It's his 16th birthday. That's what it was. So what were your kind of thoughts on the first chapter?
It started out a lot actually like Hunger Games to me, where almost in the sense that, like, you know, Katniss wakes up and she's met by her sister, but Haymitch goes off, like, Katniss doesn't work. She runs directly off to the woods, but
Right.
you're introduced to the Hob, you're introduced to Hattie, and you kind of hear how Haymitch gets by with making money for his family so that he doesn't have to take more
The rations, like the rations
Yeah.
to add his name to the games.
Yeah. And even Hattie lets him go early because and she kind of gives him a promotion too, and he gets to mix the mead instead of just like hauling the flour and such. So
Right. It reminds me very much of and it seems like this might be the same field that Katniss uses in the books. It almost reminds me of like when Katniss sneaks off, goes hunting, stuff like that. I'm wondering if it's that same woods.
Oh, probably.
And they know how to sneak by the fence and stuff like that.
Yeah. And you're introduced to his girlfriend as well in the first chapter.
Yes. Lenore Dove is her name.
And Lenore Dove is interesting.
She's very interesting.
Playing songs or playing and singing for geese.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me thinking and wondering, that was kind of the first, I don't want to say like eggshell, but I was like, Lucy always had a thing for singing and she was very musically inclined. I'm like, I wonder if these two kind of have some sort of connection. You're also introduced, which I found interesting about the chapter, to Haymitch's friend, his best friend, B something. Not
what
Bernard.
Was his name? It wasn't Bernard.
Wow. Can't even remember names. Did you even read the book?
Shut the fuck up.
Burdock. But the
Burdock. Yes.
the thing about his friend, his last name is Everdeen.
Which makes me think, and there might be a connection to this, but I don't know because it hasn't said anything. I'm wondering if it's Katniss's father.
Which is what I thought at the beginning too, or I think I found at the beginning too, because everyone's wondering in Hunger Games why Haymitch has such a connection to Katniss, or does everything in his power to save Katniss.
Right. Because he takes an especial liking to Katniss even before, like, the incident where in Hunger Games where when they have their thing where they're showing what they can do and she shoots the arrow at the pig and whatever. I'm thinking he knew a lot more about Katniss than she thinks he did. We might find that out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm very excited too.
It was a very calm first chapter. You kind of find about the Hob, you find about Lenore, you find out about Burdock. You kind of meet his friends and who he hangs out with, Haymitch kind of thing.
Yep. You see Haymitch get a little bit of time with Lenore, and you also see him buying. Apparently, he likes or she likes little jelly bean candies.
I think they were gumdrops.
Yeah, I wanted to say dots, but I'm like, that's not dots.
It's not dots.
And he even promises Lenore that he's gonna come back. They're both gonna come back, and they're gonna hang out after the reaping, like they usually do. They'll come back, and hang out after the reaping. And his mom even gives it's like a normal day. His mom gives him his chores that he has to do before he can see Lenore. He promises Lenore that they'll hang out afterwards. It's his birthday. God bless him. Which is also I also found funny because that is never said in the Hunger Games series that it's Haymitch's birthday. And kind of goes through Haymitch's feelings about being born on Reaping Day, which I mean, I would have to think if I was in that situation would definitely overshadow. I mean, Reaping Day overshadow my birthday, and I would feel kind of second fiddle to things and to life. So.
Yeah, and it's kind of, and I feel like this might be more explained later. Obviously, he's 16. And in Hunger Games, he's 16. He's not really drinking or anything yet at 16 anyway. In Hunger Games, you see him a raging alcoholic. Like, raging alcoholic. Which makes me wonder if he drinks to forget shit on his birthday. And I think that might be explored later or something. It's just me thinking Haymitch is very different in Hunger Games than he seems to be now.
Well, and Hattie even says to him that if he's old enough to make, because he's actually helping her make alcohol to sell, but he sells to everyone, to peacekeepers and such. But she says that if you're old enough to make it, then you're old enough to drink it, and she gives him a bottle. That I think he eventually, I don't know if he sells it or gives it away, but he does do that. I think he gives it away.
I think he gave it away. I think he gave it to some people on the way to his reaping or something like that. One thing to note, and I don't know if you noted this, it's the second quarter quell. So he fought in the 50th games, where Catching Fire, it's 75. So it's at least 15 years before, maybe more. I might be doing math wrong.
25
oh, yeah,
years.
25. 25. Yeah, I'm doing math wrong. So, for things to be as crazy as they were 25 years later in Catching Fire, there's got to be something big that goes down in his games that, like, changes things, or however they do things. I mean, I can certainly say his reaping was quite fucked.
Oh yeah, and yeah. I mean, like you said, they make no time with jumping right into the reaping, um, because
Oh, the other thing we forgot, and I'm just now realizing this, or not realizing this, but we forgot to mention about it. Lenora gives him the flint striker,
yep,
which is the snake and the bird,
mm-hmm,
for his birthday,
yep.
which is basically what is on the cover. Which means I feel like we might be seeing more of. I don't think that's the last we're gonna see of this flint striker. That's for sure.
Chekhov's Flint Striker.
And Katniss is also given a trinket. She's also given a Mockingjay pin,
Right. Right.
that she finds from the Hob, that she has made kind of friends with an older vendor of sorts,
Mhm.
that has been one of her kind of go-to to sell her own game from hunting in the woods.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So
It's definitely a kind of like peaceful opening chapter, as weird as it doesn't last, because it's Hunger Games, it's not gonna last. um uh, the Flint Striker, Haymitch promises later that night too that he'll show Sid how to use the striker.
mm-hmm.
We know how that's gonna go, because but he goes through his reaping like normal. They all meet, and Haymitch kind of joins up with the guys. What's it called? Burdock, Blair. I don't remember what Blair's last name was. And you kind of see for the first time, and I kind of was expecting a familiar face here, and I was not. I was expecting, is it Effie? What's her name?
Yeah.
Effie.
Effie. I was expecting Effie, because of all things, that's what I would have thought. But no, we get this woman named Drusilla Sickle, and she, just like Effie, is very dressed up in capital garments and clothes, and like all done up to the point where it's like a little much.
Well, she
Like,
seems to, like, aside from Effie, like, from what I gathered of her so far, um, I feel like Effie always had at least a smidgen of pride for District 12. Drusilla seems to almost not at all, by any means. I mean, everything about
oh
it
God, no.
disgusts her, and she doesn't want to be there, and she's very much more higher and mightier than they are. Um, And she's just there because she's doing a job.
And that very well seemed like that's exactly what it was with her, because she's almost like, the sooner we get this done, the sooner I can get out of here, and blah blah. Like, not exactly like that, but that's the vibe I got, kind of thing, from her.
Yeah. So
And
the fun thing about the second quarter quell that you actually learn in chapter 1 as well, when they're standing there at the reaping, is that the thing that's special about this year is they're not only taking one but two tributes, two male and two female tributes from
right,
each district. So it's double the participants.
right. So it's from what I'm gathering, that this is the first year they're starting to take two male and two female, as opposed to probably previous years. I'm gonna guess, it doesn't really say it, but I'm gonna guess that they only probably took one girl and one guy, and that lessened people's chances.
Yeah.
Each quarter quell has a unique rule added to it for the reaping itself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
so for Haymitch's game, it was double the tributes. For Catching Fire, it was only tributes that had won their games.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and then their excuse being
So,
to remind everyone that even like the strongest still weren't stronger than the capital. Like,
right,
no
right,
one was safe from the capital, essentially.
right.
Probably just a way, obviously, we probably find out later, just to get Katniss back in the game due to, Snow not wanting her to be alive anymore. But, I mean, in her first game, he's even like, to, oh God, what was the game maker's name? Seneca Crane.
Seneca Crane. Yes, Seneca Crane.
Snow was basically like, why is she not dead yet? Like, why hasn't she died? And even in the second one, even in Catching Fire, he even brings it back up to Plutarch and is like, I want her to die. And it's Plutarch basically being like, chillax, like, she will, like, let's have some fun. Like,
and then not even long after, and they do the whole thing with and Plutarch like gets her out, kind of thing, after that. It seems like he's always, and I'm kind of starting to think this, it seems like even from him being in here, really wasn't expecting to see him in this chapter either, or in this book, but it's a prequel, so I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. But it seems like he's always been finessing the capital from even these games. And we'll get in more into that even in chapter 3, when we get to chapter 3. But it's nice to be able to see familiar names, last names, even a familiar person. But it makes me wonder, how's that gonna work later?
yeah. Well, because I believe Plutarch was a game maker initially, somehow.
Right.
And
right.
Then
Somehow
he
was
over,
initially a game. Yeah.
and then he volunteered again when it was the quarter quell for Katniss after Seneca Crane.
Right.
But absolutely, and we'll get into that later, but it's absolutely, when I saw that and saw kind of how Plutarch was introduced, I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. And he seems to be very much like, Like, you meet Plutarch in the Hunger Games, and he doesn't seem like a bad dude. He seems very much like he seems very much on the side of the rebellion, though he kind of is their insider to the capital. So he's kind of playing both defenses, but I think that he's more playing the capital than he's playing District 12, than he's playing Katniss for sure. And and maybe it's a thing that we'll find out later on in the book, but it seems like he's very, very capital supportive, very all for the capital, and kind of like I'll do whatever's wanted kind of deal from me. But the thing I also found out interesting about Chapter 1, so aside from the two female and two male tributes, it's also one of the female tributes is pretty much is a daughter of like a high, I don't want to say leader of District 12, but a high, like, councilman of District 12.
Yeah. I don't know if it was two names that were for the females. Was Luella McCoy. I don't know if it was her or if it was Maisley Donner. I don't know which one it was, but yes, I noticed that as well.
Yeah. It was Maisley.
I think, yeah.
And they say that that town kids, because it says that she's a purebred town girl, and her parents kind of are her dad is gonna succeed the current mayor of the town, who, funnily enough, is named Mayor Alistair. I
didn't know. I didn't know if you noticed that, but I was also like gonna wait and see what you said about that, and I'm like, oh, I noticed that too, and I'm like, oh, Terps might notice this.
I chuckled when I read that. I'm not gonna lie. Sora, take notes. Alistair wants mayorship. He would love to be Mayor Alistair, ruler of the Nine Hells.
Ruler of the mining district.
Because
right off that, I'll add some brimstone mines to hell. Because you can roll over District 12 of Lust City.
succeeding his father's throne is not enough. He's the entirety of hell is not enough for him. Anyway, yeah. And then we get, of course, the first male tribute, who is Wyatt Kello. Which I think is crazy, because in the Hunger Games, I believe they can volunteer at 18. That's what they usually do.
Yes, they can. Yeah, they can volunteer at 18.
I always thought 18 was, 19 is when you can age out of the reaping. That's what it is.
I think, I was gonna say, it did say in the book what year you can age out, and I think it was 19.
Yeah, and he was like closing in on his 19th birthday.
Yeah, because it was... Who was it that was the older one? Was it... I think it was Wyatt, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was Wyatt. Yep. Yeah, so he was like he was like a year of aging out, because he had already started working in the mines.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we get into chapter 2.
Well, yeah, fucking Woodbine.
The next name called from Drusilla is Woodbine Chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I, for a split second, was like, oh, wait a minute. Haymitch's name wasn't initially called. And that's what threw me for a loop. So initially, as
No,
it
it was
stands
not.
right now, Lenore Dove and Haymitch Abernethy are safe for another year. I figured he was always chosen. He was not chosen for his games. I mean, he was, but he wasn't.
No, he was not.
Yeah, because then we get into chapter 2.
Fucking literally the end of chapter 1 starts off like literally. We see him like go to look up like Woodbine goes, kind of looks at the sage, and then decides to fucking run. I'm like, dude, you're gonna run, okay? I'm like, you should know you're not gonna be able to outrun peacekeepers, but sure, go for it. Literally,
Just like that one guy in Skyrim. You're not gonna catch
liter,
me! Archers!
liter,
Thunk.
no, literally, you can see, like literally, the last like few lines of the chapter was, just when I'm thinking he might make it out from the ring, just when I'm thinking he might make it, all those chance kids run like greased lightning. A shot rings out from the Justice Building rooftop, and the back of Woodbine's head explodes. And that's how chapter 1 ends. And I was like, okay, things are getting started right in here. Like, it's the calmest chapter, and then it's just like, boom, chapter ends.
Boom!
This person's
Sniper.
head explodes. Like, literally, sniper, head gone. I'm like, okay. And that's where chaos starts in chapter 2. And I'm like, ooh. So, one thing that kind of threw me for like a surprise, obviously, other than someone's head exploding, but they make the screens go dark when they're having the reaping. And I thought it was all live and not recorded. This starts to show that they're recorded and that if they have problems as of this, they can edit things.
Yeah.
As we come, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Drusilla even says we have 5 minutes or something later in the chapter. So yeah, you kind of see her look back and almost yell at this peacekeeper, like, why did you do that here? Like, you couldn't have waited until he got to the alleyway, and then, like, now what am I supposed to do? And all chaos ensues because they tell everyone to basically get on their knees. And
you know what it reminds me of? And I'm sorry to interrupt, T. You know what it reminds me of? The exact same moment in Catching Fire when what was his name? Oh God, what was his name? The other love interest of Katniss, not Peeta.
Gale.
Gale. It reminds
Not the
me
Waterdeep.
exactly. I hate you. It reminds me though of when Gale protected someone in this town center and like attacked the peacekeeper, and that's kind of almost the same vibe we get from this chapter because we have an instance where that happens in this chapter.
Yeah. There's a great scene, by the way. Second best scene, like second great scene in that movie was, when you see Haymitch, when you see Katniss kind of run up and she's struck by the peacekeeper, at the whipping post to kind of shield Gale and tell him to stop with Gale, and then you see Haymitch kind of come to Katniss's aid and like is like, wait. Commander, you're new here, and like sticks up for Katniss, and he's like, you're basically. And then you see Peter run behind, and he's like, "You're looking at 3 dead victors here. Are you sure Snow wants to do that?" Like,
Oh wait, there's another thing I just realized, and this kind of gets into knowing last names again. Peter's last name is Malark. We have Othello Malark.
yeah, who runs the bakery?
So
Yeah,
who runs the bakery? So there's a lot of mentioning of last names. Of these are probably their parents. That only would make sense to me.
yeah, because Ortho or Otho is the one. Like he doesn't when everyone is told to get down, he doesn't until
Yes.
Murdoch hits him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which God knows what would have had ensued had Murdoch not hit him. I honestly
feel
thought
like
that
there would
scene.
have been.
Go ahead.
No, I feel like there would have been like another thing, like Woodbine, like another shot or something. I thought something like that was gonna happen.
I went a little less, but I don't know. I went a little less killing and a little like. Do you remember the scene where Peeta and Katniss are doing their victory tour, and they're at Rue's district, and they finish giving the speech, and the one guy like gave
like
held
the
up the
old
symbol
man that did the signal. Yeah. Yep. I could see that.
Yeah, that's where my mind went anyway. But I'm wondering too if like maybe Ortho and Burdock were our friends or are connected somehow. Oh, he doesn't own the bakery. His folks own the bakery. Okay, so he's the son of currently
He's
of
the son of-
people who own the
yeah.
bakery. So
Okay.
I'm wondering if
So-
he grows up to be Peeta's father, and that's how Peeta. I mean,
Right.
aside from like, Peeta and Katniss being in school together, but if that's why Peeta kind of threw out the bread tour, when he burnt the bread, and that's why that connection
Right.
was kind of there.
That would make sense, actually. But one of the things too, like after you find out about like the Othello and everybody being pushed down to the ground, Gisela basically going, "We got 5 minutes. We got to get the body out of here, so we can finish this live." And it's kind of like get rid of the people that are injured. People that are injured too. I'm like, okay, so she just does not. Unlike Ethel, like we said, he does not have any pride of District 12, and that is like clear as day here. Because it's like she just wants to get rid of everyone, get rid of everything, get done. The peacekeepers rushed through the gate trying to get rid of people and stuff like that. And then they were like, "Oh, we need another boy. The dead one is no good." And like that's kind of where we start to get into a chaoticness of with Haymitch, especially.
Sorry, I was refilling my drink. Yeah. Because Lenore is basically shielding what was his name? His father was crying over his mom. One of his parents were crying over his body. I mean, as parents would do, right? And Lenore was basically like, "Give him 5 minutes, blah 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 blah." Almost advocating for him, and the peacekeepers were about to hit her with the back of their rifle, and that's when Haymitch stepped in, and he gets hit instead.
Just like Gil goes and like gets like protects from the peacekeepers kind of thing, but protecting Lenore.
Yeah. And that's when Drusilla is like, "Oh, well, I guess we found our second boy," and that's basically how he's brought into the games. And it's Lenore goes, starts pleading for him about how it was just, it was my fault. Don't take him. It's my fault. And basically threatens her because Drusilla's like, just shoot her. Like, Drusilla's like, just kill her. Just shoot her. Like, which goes on more to further the extent of that Drusilla has no value in District 12 and of the lives of the people in District 12. Whereas I don't think that Elfie would have... Elfie. God damn it. Sorry. Effie.
If you're in chat, we love you.
Love you. Effie.
Love you, Elfie.
Would ever have such a... She's definitely like a I love the Capitol person, but I don't think she would have been like, oh, we'll just kill her. I don't think she has the...
Oh, God. I don't think Effie would have ever had, like, I don't want to say... I'm just going to say it like this because I feel like it's the best way to say this, and Sora and Turf, you can agree with me or disagree with me. I don't think Effie would have ever had the guts to say, just kill her. I don't, because that doesn't seem like her personality to me.
Yeah.
She grows to care so much about Peeta and Everdeen. Well, I mean, that is kind of her name. Katniss, so much throughout the course of the next 3 movies that I don't think Effie would have ever been able to go to a random person and just go kill her.
Yeah, I don't think Effie feels that any life is not worth, that she's not gonna not agree with the Capitol, but she's not gonna just kill you just to kill you. Essentially. She's not gonna instruct, she's not gonna look at a peacekeeper and go, just shoot him. But then we're
introduced... Drusilla just does that.
Yeah. But then, much to our surprise, at least mine, then we're introduced to Plutarch.
Oh, I was beyond surprised when he came in. I was not expecting him to be here.
And he's not a game maker, and he's not the high and mighty person that we see in the Capitol during the victory tour at the mansion. But he's kind of a director of sorts, which I found interesting. Puts a lot on the games being just a spectacle, and more or less for people, because he goes to say, well, let's keep her, about Lenore, and because she's now freaking out over Haymitch, and
right.
And Plutarch is like, I'm gonna fucking call him Percival. Plutarch is like,
Percival, you're in Hunger Games now.
Story of my life. I want to keep her for the Teal for goodbye. Like, I want to exploit her to get what I need for the Capitol to have a good show, essentially. To which I found interesting, because Drusilla even then looks on to Plutarch and is like, fine, but if you mess this up, I'm gonna shoot you myself. Basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you find they ask him his name, and they write Hamish's name down and put it in a specific spot, and actually instruct Wyatt to go back to his spot in the crowd.
Mm.
And end up redoing that whole scene to where they
Where they pick the names from whatever they use, like they pick the names again. Yeah.
And you see the countdown where someone, talks about we're going live again in 30, and the countdown from that. And again, Drusilla is seen here telling everyone to stop talking or everyone's gonna die.
Yeah, she basically, I hate to say this like this, but it's in the book. She calls them district pigs. She doesn't even call them people. She calls them pigs.
Yeah.
She's like not even acknowledging the district as people. They're just animals to her, which shows how much I'm already not going to like her. I can tell you that.
It'll be interesting to see her story unfold, because I was so used to Effie, and she didn't necessarily like Katniss or Peeta, but she treated them like people.
Right.
And then she grew to like them, obviously, throughout the next, once they were all of a sudden her victors, and then she became like friendly in the second quarter quell, or the whatever quarter quell with Katniss, and was like, you deserve so much more. So, but I don't know if we're going to see that with Drusilla.
I don't think we're gonna, but it's going to be very interesting if we do.
So they go through the reaping again, basically, minus the girls. They go through the boys reaping again, and Wyatt Callow is called again. And he walks up again, as he did the first time, and then she reaches in and calls Haymitch's name. And he kind of hesitates for a moment, as to stand there as if it's a bad dream. Which I think I would as well.
Oh, I probably would as well, because you also think, hey, he was just thinking like, not even 30 seconds ago, maybe like a minute ago at this point, he was safe and he was about to go home with his girl and not have to worry about the reaping another year. And then all of a sudden he's now being put into the games, and it's just he's like you said, he thinks it's a bad dream, and he was just moments ago safe, and now that's been taken away from him.
And you see him kind of look for Lenore. And he does find her, and he does spot her, and you see Lenore, because Lenore has basically been set up to be a pawn as well, so that they can get, their tearful goodbye as far as, Plutarch is concerned. But you see Lenore just kind of standing straight-faced and not giving them what they want. which throughout the
Which I
movies I've.
say. No, continue. Sorry.
Oh no, you first. Go first.
Which I say continually for that. And I was kind of like rooting for Lenore and Haymitch in this. I was like, that was a bold power move, and I was all for it because why give Plutarch what he wants? He's just gonna use it against them later. Why give someone what they want like that and just go, hey, I'm just gonna not and see what you do, like see what happens kind of thing. And it was bold, and I was all for it.
Yeah. No. You and I were definitely on the same kind of wavelength there, because from what we've grown to know and love about 12 throughout these books, 12 is kind of, I mean, even with Lucy Bard, like, they kind of
Mm-hmm.
go against the Capitol, Lucy Bard with her snake kind of deal, when she got the
Yes,
snake
the
in the dress in the
snake.
beginning, and then refusing to sing unless it's on her own terms. And then you see Katniss and Peeta, obviously in their their games, both like eating the Nightlock, wanting to eat the Nightlock, so that they don't have a victor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You even see,
And that's and the Nightlock thing that affects Sienna because you see that at the end of him, but then that's like the end of him. So
yeah, and then you see, Gale's basically like, I don't, just throughout 12 there's so many different, as far as like defying the Capitol, in little ways.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, and again, Peeta says it when they're in the training area, to where he's like, oh no, I know I'm gonna die, but I want to die on my own terms. Like, I don't want to die because I'm a pawn in their game. I want to die on my own terms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then, of course, Drusilla goes and is like, oh, happy Hunger Games, may the odds ever be in your favor. Kind of that classic line.
Mm-hmm.
And no one cheers. And you see Haymitch look at Lenore and mouth that he loves her. I love you like all fire is what he says, actually, to her.
And that's kind of like that's kind of been like they're kind of like catchphrase, I want to say, kind of thing. And like I'm trying to remember what the catchphrase between Katniss and Peeta was, but they kind of had their own catchphrase kind of thing. Like, it seems like it's one of their own ways of saying, like, I love you, but, like, not giving people the satisfaction of, like, knowing what, like, this is theirs. They can't take that away from me, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Drusilla even says, or no, the voice, the loudspeaker says that, and we're out, we're done shooting, we're cut, like,
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's the crap at the Capitol, the people from the Capitol is cheering great and praising Drusilla and how great of a job she did. And then she goes on to praise herself.
Oh, so the thing with and I just kind of looked at it. Peeta and Katniss's like moment of like things because of what happened with PETA and the hijacking kind of thing, bringing that in a little bit. It was like truth, like real or not real kind of thing, because PETA was still deferring what was real, what was not. But that was kind of their thing, and it's kind of like Hamish and Lenore's kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then yeah, and then you see Drusilla basically like praising herself and is talking about herself about how great she is and how great of a show that she just put on, and she even grabs a glass of champagne and says it's going to be a great story for chimney parties as she pulls or for chimney parties, dinner parties, as she pulls out a cigarette and lights
Right.
it. They even have champagne, and then she goes on to look at the people of District 12, and she's like, why are they still here? Tell them to go away. Tell them to go home. She even says, get them out of here before their smell gets in my hair. And then she smells her hair and is like, oh, too late. Kind of once again degrading the people of 12.
Degrading District, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about after she like pulls out the champagne and like sends everybody home. Normally, and we see this in Hunger Games and Catching Fire, where they get a moment to say goodbye to their loved ones, like in a separate room or whatever. Because of that scene that they had with the kid running and everything like that, Drusilla wants to take that away from them and be like, no, you don't get goodbyes. But noticeably, Plutarch talks her into letting them have a moment only if they get to shoot things from their parents or whatever, of like moments for the capital or whatever, which I thought was pretty
Fucked up.
what's the word?
Fucked up.
It was fucked up. It was very fucked up. Like, these people are about to fight for your games or whatever, and they don't even get to say goodbye to their families because they might not make it out of these games. It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, and you see that again in Catching Fire, where her and PETA are pulled away, and even Katniss is like, well, I get to say goodbye, and the Peacekeeper is like, nope, straight to the train, like, you're leaving. So, yeah. You even see, the thing that I caught interesting was you see actually in the midst, you see the, what is his name,
Are you talking about Mr. Donner?
yes, and how he's trying to like basically swayed the Peacekeeper to not take his daughter.
Yes.
And at this point in time, the Peacekeeper even has Lenore still ready to take her in the alleyway, and what we assume to be would be to off her.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem, no, and it might be that it hasn't happened yet, but it seems like something happens where that doesn't happen, but it hasn't been explained yet, or maybe never will. But after we find out that Plutarch goes to get the footage from Sid and like his mom or Hamish's mom and stuff like that. And they even tried to get, who was it that they were trying to get footage from? There was someone else. It was either Luella's folks or like Maisley's or something like that. Yeah, it was Luella. Because he tried to get their reactions when her name was called. And then Plutarch wants to get ears from Sid and his mom, or Sid and Hamish's mom. And then they are able to get their goodbyes after that. But only then. Which,
Yeah.
again, is pretty fucked up.
Yeah, because Maisley and Wyatt are ushered into straight into the Justice Building, even with their relatives basically trying to get to them and trying to say goodbye to them. The only one to slip by is Marilee, to hug her sisters, which the peacekeepers break up.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And that's when Plutarch kind of steps in and
like gets the reactions from them, from
Yeah.
the McCoys and from Hamish's family, and then they get to say goodbye.
Yeah.
So once they get to say their goodbye, they get a minute, and Hamish gives Sid the gumdrops for Lenore and tells him he's the man of the house now, which he feels no kid should ever have to go through, which I don't feel any kid should have to go through. I think Sid is only like 10 and becomes man in the house now because Hamish is being sent off to his games, and Hamish thinks he's not coming home.
Yep.
Well, I mean, the odds are not in his favor.
Yeah.
Well, the big thing is that they never are for 12, right? So
they never are. They never are because no one has won games. And that's another thing that I'm intrigued getting back to Lucy back in Ballads, Songbirds, and Snakes. And maybe that'll be explained in this, or maybe not. How her games were completely erased, and 12 has no victors. And how they go about that, which, again, may be said in this book, it may not be.
yeah, I'm wondering too if kind of who will be Hamish's mentor.
Right, yes, because, and this kind of gets into chapter 3, but we'll also get into that. You see kind of when they're in the train and stuff like that, how 12 really has no mentors because 12 doesn't usually ever make it out of the games. So they have no victors to be mentors, kind of thing.
Yeah, because before Hamish, the only one they've ever had was Lucy.
Right. But Lucy is somehow very right, as far as we know. But somewhere, somehow, something obviously happens to Lucy. I mean, the movie, yes, we see the events of that, but it's also what happens, what happened to Lucy. That's the whole other thing we need to find out, and maybe we'll find out.
Yeah. Um, I like how the last thing you see in chapter 2 is them on the train, and you see Lenore with the gumdrops.
Yes, yes, I liked that too. That was a neat little nod.
And she, like, actually loses it. You know, it says she leans her head back and wails. And he kind of enjoys it because she denied that to Plutarch. And that is a thing for that. You know, that's still a thing for Haymitch and her.
Mhm. Mhm. And like, I'm glad Plutarch didn't catch that, and she like kept that until she was alone. And I was like, good for her. Good for her. We also, there's like a last thing after we see him like hauled off and stuff like that. They put him, and kind of this starts into chapter 3. They, I don't want to say chain, but they lock him in another train and kind of keep him by himself after the whole thing of him attacking the peacekeepers and stuff like that. He's chained into another car, kind of like taken away, and people like the other tributes, like he's put into isolation, I want to say.
Yeah. Which is not at all what we see in Hunger Games.
Mhm.
It's um you know, the train is my music paused. The train is elegant, and it's filled with all kinds of treats and of the best of you know, the best kind of wood, and for the tables and for the place settings. And whereas Peta and Katniss may be in separate rooms, the rooms are still nice, and they
Mhm.
still have run of their train.
Mhm.
But yeah. And then we get to chapter 3.
Yeah. Chapter 3 kind of opened up as you would kind of expect. When he's in isolation, he's thinking about Lenore. He's like, I'm never gonna see her again. He's kind of going through it in the fact of he's going through his head. He he's never gonna see Lenore again. He's never gonna hear her laughing in the branches, or feel the warmth of her arms in his arms, and never have like the moments he did with the moon, or the gumdrops, or whispering I love you like all fire. It was all taken away from him, and you kind of see him thinking about this while he's in isolation at the moment.
Yeah. And he's kind of thinking back on the kid that ran, and he's like, should I have run? Like, did he did that kid have a good plan, a good idea? Um, would have been easier. Um, and then Plutarch actually comes and gets him
Mm-hmm.
and asks if he's up for to joining the others. Um, and then Plutarch seems to be like, well, let me see what's cooking. Like, is anyone hungry? Let me see what's cooking. Like, he seems to be the one that's taking care of them, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially. He's the one that, like, makes sure they're okay. When Mitch is taken out of isolation, he goes and sits with, I think it was Maisley? I might be wrong. No, Luella.
Yeah.
And they kind of, like, start talking about how, like, how it wasn't fair how they took her, and, like, how, or not about how they took her, about how they took him. And, like, she was like, was it fair? No, not really. I mean, even it might have been illegal the way they did it. Like, they were just chatting about how Haymitch got into this mess.
Yeah. Because you learned that Luella and Haymitch, who she calls Hay,
Mm-hmm.
have kind of been friends since they've been little.
Mm-hmm.
Because she kind of jokes um, about allies and about how she can trust
Yes.
him and how she can trust him and about being allies, because apparently it was an old joke between the two of them that lasted about a week until she got a bullfrog from another boy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts to thinking about, well, maybe all of us can form a District 12 alliance.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And starts thinking on Wyatt and starts thinking on Maisley. And you learn a little bit more about Maisley and about her sister Marilee, and how that their family history, and how about apparently her mom lost two other girls.
Mm-hmm.
But you see her all done up and all, she's nails are polished, never without some kind of like trinket or ornament, as they put it. And that she loves jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
She had, like, a bunch of necklaces, beaded, braided, trinkets, and from what Haymitch assumed, at least one of real gold.
yeah, yeah. Um, and then you see Haymitch come back, not Haymitch, god damn it, Plutarch come back with a tray of food for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they go on to, talk about how Haymitch is hungry, and you actually meet another character named Tibby,
Mm-hmm.
who seems to be a servant of Kynes.
Yeah, that's what I seen together as well.
Um, and they start talking about silverware and how there's no silverware.
Or even napkins, of all things, to like put their sandwiches on.
Yeah. And Tibby goes on to say that it's so that we can easily sanitize things. So you kind of start seeing them make friends as far as that's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering too if we'll find out, because if the different districts had different like
They have like
cameramen
different announcement now. Yeah.
kind of deal, because
Mm-hmm.
Plutarch even says I made everyone in 12 look good. And how the four tributes came off looking beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Drusilla then come back in and enter the train, and Drusilla kind of goes over, as Hamish did with Katniss and Peeta. I feel like Drusilla goes over the other tributes in the game as far as like the career pact and
Mm-hmm.
what have you. Like
Mm-hmm.
District 11
Like the.
tributes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
they finally start discussing their games.
Right.
And then it goes on to even state in it's, you know, how everyone has mentors and how like people are going to come in and like
Mm-hmm.
discuss how to win the games or how to get sponsors.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Except it states,
Right.
and I quote, our mentors, our guides, our masterminds, our protectors in the Hunger Games, except the District 12 tributes don't have automatic mentors. Not even one, because we're the only district without living victors, and that's who the job traditionally falls to.
Mm-hmm.
So there is mention of Lucy, but it's also made mention that it's mostly hearsay, because no one
Right.
back then in District 12 had a TV.
Right.
And even his mom couldn't say much about him, about the girl that won.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that got me was because it says that Hamish brought up the victor with Lenore, but she never really wanted to discuss that victor.
Yes.
And I was like, interesting. And then when Hamish asked who their victor was, they said that they were in the process of picking them for District 12.
Yeah. So it seems like, and this might just be me, and you can give me your input on it. It seems like they're just gonna get Bay's pick of the litter. Oh well, you're fucked anyway.
Yeah.
You're fucked anyway, so who the fuck cares who you get for a mentor? You're all gonna die anyway.
You're all going to die down here.
Oh my god.
I mean, not hey Mitch. We all, if you've read the Hunger Games, you kind of know that he doesn't die. You
No,
also know
but
how he
that's
gets out of his
like
games.
the
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert for the end of the book, guys. Hamish lives.
See, that's the problem with writing compelling prequels. You already know the end.
Spoiler alert. Hamish lives.
my whole thing though is like I said in the beginning. I wonder why he becomes a raging alcoholic. I really do, because we might find that out later on. Because he is so bad in Hunger Games. Like, I don't think it's not really until Mockingjay that you kind of see Hamish sober, per se.
It's getting hot. Now I don't like my long hair anymore.
But if you know what I'm trying to say, it's why did Hamish get to where he was?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good question. Let's pose that to you and Sora. Why do you think Hamish got to where he was?
There has got to be something in the games that absolutely breaks him, either in the games or directly after.
That's what I'm wondering. There has to be something like Sora said. That is either in the games, after, or even before he starts his games. Maybe some event happens before his games. I don't want to say, because I really don't want to bring this into fruition. Maybe something happens to Lenore like it did Cinna.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Either something in the games or something happens to Lenore. Because we don't see Lenore in the Hunger Games.
No, and he doesn't even mention her.
Yeah. So I hate to say it like this, but I think something is going to happen to her, and it's absolutely going to break him.
So I'm wondering, because they can't do it, like he can't find anything out while he's in the games, clearly. And it's not like Cinna, where they could, like, Cinna was her fashion designer person. So it's not like Cinna, where they could just bring him in, like, and she has free access to him, as Cinna did Katniss.
Right, true.
So I'm wondering if, because of how he seemingly defied the Capitol of winning his games, more or less. If when he goes home, they kind of take it out on Lenore, or before he goes home.
Oh, that could be a very well
the other
possibility.
thing I'm thinking is if Lenore sees his brutality during the games and sees him change so much, she might not feel the same way about him when he gets back.
That's a good point too, Sora. It could very well be because he has to do what he has to do to survive in the games. she very well could come not to like him anymore after the games. That's good. That's a good idea.
But until my book gets here, this is all speculation.
Listen, it's supposed to be there any day now.
I don't know why you just didn't buy it when we were at Barnes and Noble. God, that sounds like a personal problem to me.
You know what? If someone had said, hey, we're all getting this book, I probably would have.
God,
But
call me
you
your
know,
twin.
no one told me until we left, and I'm like, and then y'all are like, we can get it for you later. Well, it's
Well,
later
I
and I
bought you.
still don't have it.
It's been shipped. I don't know what you want me to do about it.
Tell Amazon they need to hustle their asses. I need it here
Yeah, but
yesterday.
something must happen to Haymitch in the games after Lenora might see Haymitch in the games, and something might happen. It's got to be something that happens to make Haymitch the way he is.
And knowing the author, these kills are going to be brutal throughout the games once we actually get into them.
I'm very excited. I know, it sounds weird.
You're excited to see. You're excited to see teenagers kill themselves to the death.
They're
Not
fighting to the
themselves,
death.
kill each other.
They're fighting to the death.
Whatever. Still.
The thing that I also found interesting about chapter 3 is they actually get to watch the reaping again.
That was interesting.
Um,
That was interesting.
and how everything about the Peacekeeper, the whole interaction with the Peacekeeper, was kind of cut out because none of them seemed to know that Haymitch had attacked the Peacekeeper, and that wasn't in it.
It very much well then proves my point. These games aren't actually live. They post them as live and like do editing and shit, as we've clearly seen, and air it live later. At least what I'm coming to understand.
Yeah. Because they even state that, that Plutarch did that, whereas it hasn't been tampered with, he did a little bit, which is basically tampering, but whatever, Plutarch, whatever makes you feel good. Kind of stacked the deck to help District 12 out.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of made it so that it was easier to get them sponsors in the games, which, if you know anything about Hunger Games, is a huge way of helping you out and helping you survive. I mean,
No.
Katniss
Yeah,
needed
definitely.
food or medicine to heal her and Peeta's leg. Yeah.
God, PETA. I mean, the thing with PETA and the sponsors and everything like that. Even, I can't remember if she did after the. What were they called? They weren't hornets.
The Tracker Jackers.
Tracker jackers. I feel like she got something after she was stunned by tracker jackers as well, but I might be wrong.
No, because that's
But
when you meet
either,
Rue. Because Rue helps her.
yeah, okay. Rue helped her. Yep, okay. But even still, like you said, when Katniss got, I think it was hunting supplies the first time, or no, she got soup. She got
Yeah.
soup, and then
Soup
she got the
and then
medicine.
medicine.
But sponsors help a lot if you need it badly.
Hmm.
And one thing about the sponsors, and it kind of leans into Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, there weren't per se sponsors in Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes. It was more those mentors, if they needed things, they brought them to them. Or not brought them to them, but they had those robots that they like sent water and stuff like that. It wasn't per se sponsors.
Yeah.
So is the sponsors thing a first thing with this game? Or have they always been a thing with the games and it just was handled differently in Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes?
Hmm.
Like, I'm wondering if it was like a thing of they found, hey, this doesn't work in this game. Let's try sponsors. Or have sponsors always been a thing?
Good question.
Because we already know the Capitol has a shit ton of money as it is, or they wouldn't be putting on these games.
Yeah, and it's a quarter quell, so you know the arena. The arena is completely different. It's never seen again. I'm very excited to see Hamish's arena. Um, the 4 victors from each district. Well, not victors. 4 tributes from each district. Yeah.
Alright, when we get in our Haymitch movie?
The movie, actually, funny you say that. November next year.
Ugh. You're killing
Oh,
me,
This,
Smalls.
did you actually look that up, huh?
I've seen a teaser for, but it wasn't, it like just revealed the cover of the book, and that was about it. So it, Sunrise on the Reaping. The movie is 2026.
Okay.
And we already have quite the casting a little bit of people that Sora might know, especially. We're getting McKenna Grace. McKenna Grace was in the Ghostbusters movies. I don't know if you saw the new ones. There's also in Once Upon a Time an episode or two, but we're getting a movie in 2026, so it should be interesting in November. So I'm wondering how that's gonna go. How much they're gonna, hopefully. This is my one thing with books to movies. I hope they don't change too much, and I'm glad I'm finally being able to get back to, and this is just me, T, and I'm sure this will probably be Sora. I'm excited to actually be able to have gone into a movie again reading the book first. Because I didn't realize when I saw Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes that it was a book at first. I thought it was just a new, like, hey, look, here, new Hunger Games. But no, it was a book. So I'm excited getting back into reading a book before going to see the movie. I will say that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we end chapter 3. Kind of ironically, I feel, because they're talking about how Plutarch made these kids look, desirable, even though they're a quartet of attractive kids. He calls them a quartet of attractive kids who hop right up on the stage and to the cheers of the district and ready to go. After everything that happened to get to that point. And then
Basically, what Maisie liked to call it was Plutarch gave the capital a total makeover of the kids.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, because they couldn't even pull off a straight and sound reaping, that they had to go to a cutscene basically and get their shit together and reap everybody so that it would look good.
Basically, and I quote from the book, it is and it isn't, says Plutarch. Look, we need to sell you to the sponsors. If I showed the audience what really happened, the chance boy's head being blown off, the crowd control, Haymitch attacking the peacekeepers. I didn't attack anyone. They attacked my girl and I accepted. Same thing, says Drusilla. You're not allowed to interfere with our peacekeepers. I'm trying to show you in the best possible light, says Plutarch. Maisie rolls her eyes, like when our shop calls stale marshmallows chewy and then charges an extra penny for them. Basically, Plutarch gives like the same kind of thing of like, hey, look, here's the better way of going about this. And saying, hey, here, look, I can get you guys more money, more sponsors, more whatever you may need to survive kind of thing.
Yep. And then you also see Drusilla's kind of hatred for District 12 again, to where she calls them all District Piglets again. Who basically are just trying to defy the capital and hate them. And then you see Haymitch kind of not admit to himself that he's basically the capital's plaything, and that the truth doesn't matter. And you finally hear of Plutarch's true kind of motives, where it says he acts friendly, but his indulgences, my family's goodbyes, his fancy sandwiches are just a method to manage me, because happy playthings are easy to handle than raging ones.
And then, funny enough, I found this kind of funny, and that's where chapter 4 kind of starts. But I haven't started reading it yet. And I quote: "My family's goodbyes. His fancy sandwiches are just a method to manage me, because happy playthings are easier to handle than raging ones. To get his footage, he'll indulge me right into the arena." And as to confirm this, the door to the sitting room bursts open to reveal Tibby His face aglow with 16 candles on a giant birthday cake, which confirms somehow he's trying to please Haymitch by giving him birthday cake on his birthday.
When he's
And that's where
being
chapter
driven to the capital to basically be slaughtered.
while
more or
he's
less.
being driven to the capital basically for slaughter. And that's where chapter 4 kind of starts, but I haven't started reading it yet.
I like that look. You're like, I haven't started reading it. Side eye.
I'm like, I haven't started reading it yet.
But yeah, yeah, that's chapters 1 through 3. It's yeah, it started off yeah. that's all there is to say about this. Yeah.
Like I said, chapter 1 started kind of like very peaceful in a way. It was like kind of like, here, I'm gonna ease you into it slowly. And then literally, like I said, the end of chapter 1, and you basically see the thing of saying the boy's head is blown off, and it's like that's how chapter 2 starts. And Haymitch did not have a normal experience reaping.
Down in a
And
minute. I just got asked to help with pups.
Oh, okay. And Haymitch just does not have a normal reaping, and maybe that's half of how he gets to where he is in Hunger Games. That might be one defining factor of it, but maybe we'll find out soon.
Yeah. I'm excited to kind of see where everything goes. What do you want to see more? Like, what do you want to see in this book?
I really, as weird as it sounds, I'm real like you. I'm really excited to see what Haymitch's arena is gonna be like. If it's, I know Katniss's in their quarter quell, it was their arena was a clock, and like they had different things and stuff like that. I'm excited to see the arena. I'm also excited to see if we get to one. I want to see a softer, like maybe Drusilla finally start getting, maybe not to where she is with calling people district pigs, and like maybe starting to care about the victors and stuff like that. I have a funny feeling that might never happen. I'm wondering too, and this might be before the time, I'm wondering if we're going to get to see Cinna. I'm wondering if Cinna is gonna be like at all involved with Haymitch, or like who's gonna be their stylers kind of thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it would be Senna because I would think.
I don't think it's gonna be either, but
I feel like at this point, Senna either would be like Haymitch's age and like of 16, which again, I don't know if he's living in the capital. That may be a time. He might be an apprentice or something, maybe to a designer, maybe.
maybe that could be a thing.
But as far as like, I don't know. I'd be very shocked to see Cinna. But I want to see because Cinna was so, like they said that each of the designers like captured what it was about their specific district. So like there was the lumber with Johanna's district, and there was what else? Not coal miners. But Cinna didn't do that with Katniss and Peeta. Power plant workers, that's what it was. They were power plant workers. But Cinna didn't do that with Katniss and Peeta. So I'm wondering if Haymitch's designer is going to take more of the coal mining for District 12.
Mm-hmm. It could very well be. And I was just looking so we can have a refresher on all the districts. District 1 is known for luxury items. District 2 is for masonry and defense. District 3 is for technology. District 4 for fishing. District 5 focuses on power. District 6 is transportation. District 7 is lumber. District 8 is textiles. 9 is specializes in grain. 10 in livestock. 11 in agriculture, and 12 is mining.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see his what his stylist comes up for, because like I said, Cinna wasn't your normal designer. And then
Oh God, no.
In Lucy's games, from what I read, well, from what I saw because I didn't read, she had there was no designer. That was not a thing.
Right. They kind of dressed themselves, and she basically I wouldn't say demanded, but she basically demanded that she was able to. I think it was her grandmother's dress. I might be wrong. It might have been her mother's. But it was like a family dress that she wanted to wear into the games.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they basically went into the games with whatever they were reaped in or something. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah. But I'm pretty excited.
I think I'm pretty excited. I'm very excited to even see because I don't think this is the last we're seeing of the flicker on the cover. I'm wondering if he's going to have a moment where he has to use that flicker in the games somewhere, or if it's going to become a symbol somehow, or maybe even this would be kind of crazy, but maybe somehow the Mockingjay is becomes a thing from this symbol. How did the Mockingjay come into play?
Well, that was her pin.
Right. That was her pin, but it also feels like maybe the Mockingjay isn't a thing yet. But that might be wrong.
But I'm with you on the he has to use it for some reason. Because he has it, correct? I know he has it. He showed it to Sid, saying that he was gonna teach him how to use it.
He has it, and he hid it in his shirt because he was not ready to show it to the Capitol yet.
Yeah.
So he still has it, and I don't think that's the last we're seeing of it. I really don't.
No, I would have to agree with you there.
It's interesting to see what's going to happen with it. I don't know if another thing I'm wondering too. Do you think they're gonna have to show do you think they're gonna have to get scored like Katniss and Peeta did or whatever? Do you think that's been a thing? Or do you think that's going to happen? I'm wondering if they're gonna have to show a skill or something to get scored for sponsors.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Or is that even going to be a thing? Or are they just going to be thrown right into their games?
No, that's interesting. Yeah, are they gonna get to train and everything?
Are they gonna get to train, or are they gonna be like what it was in Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, and kind of like pigged? They were kind of pig-penned into one main area, and then they were thrown right into their games.
Yeah.
Like, how is that going to work?
Isn't.
Hmm. I don't know.
We'll find out. We will definitely find out.
Any final remarks?
I'm really excited to get into chapters 4, 5, and 6 and see what we get into next, because I have a feeling we're only going to get more crazier from here.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it was probably kind of a shorter talk because I feel like the first few chapters are always them just setting up the scene. But as we get into the games and as we get into after the games, there's gonna be like so much more to break down. And hop into and such. So, and then we can get Sora caught up and he can actually know what we're talking about.
Very true. Very true.
And chime in.
I feel bad. He's just kind of been sitting here for me and just kind of been like, I don't know what to do. I can only butt in on the things I know. Like,
But really, I mean, in all honesty, y'all, this is not something that her and I had planned. She was actually, like I said, reading the book when we were walking around Barnes and Noble, and I was like, oh yeah, I should get that book too. I really want to read it. And then like driving home from Barnes and Nobles or driving to the movies, I was like, we should do from cover to coven, and she's like, yeah, totally. And literally Sora was like, oh, I wish I would have known that in the back seat. And we were like, we didn't know it until like right now. Like,
we didn't even know that we were gonna do it. Like, I had literally made like the channel for book club, and like I said, originally we were gonna, me and Jackie and Sora, this was back in March, actually, last year. We were gonna start Loki, and then it just kind of, we never did. And it was like, and like I said, Turf brought it up, where it's like, we should bring back we should start cover to cover. And I'm like, yes, let's start the book club. And then Sora's like, you fuckers. I'm like, no, you fuckers. But it was kind of like, I would have gotten the book too, just saying. And I'm like, okay. And I've been looking for a way to get back to reading, so this is gonna help with that.
yeah. And I have a long list for you that I think you'll enjoy. Now try standing up.
Right?
Because obviously we both like the Divergent series, which, funny thing, we found out to, randomly one day when I think we were doing a meme war or something with memes, and I had posted, I think it was a meme of Eric.
It was.
And then you posted one back, and we had gotten talking about Divergent. And, so that was the next one on our list, and I think I'm gonna make you read Lord of the Rings.
Interesting.
Starting with The Hobbit, as you have Fox and Parks Soda behind you, and I'm jealous.
I don't know what you're talking about. Using nothing.
um, it's fine. I'll be up there in October. Um, uh, I'm also running out of Pez. Anyway,
Of course you are already. Goddamn.
it's almost been a month. Look, the Pez lasted way longer than the Fox and Parks. The Fox and Parks
Fair
lasted
point.
like a week. Work was like, what the fuck is Fox and Parks? I'm like, it's an addicting soda that I love, and it's only from Flound in Connecticut. And she's like, what? They were like, what is up with you and finding these things that are not local? And I said, I don't know. I got a lot of friends that aren't local. I guess I just find things. And she's like, like,
you know, now my problem with fucking Raising Cane's. Thank you very much.
Oh, one is in September. One is opening up around me, and I'm very excited. Anyway, and it's a drive-through. I no longer have to actually go all the way and like get out of the car, and it's gonna be fantastic. But anyway,
what do you think? What do you think I'm gonna be doing in July now when I go up to convention with Sora? I'm gonna be going. We're going to Raising Cane's. You can deal with it. Blame Turf.
Do you not have a Raising Cane's around you?
The closest one is an hour away in Boston.
Oh, that sucks. That was another random find. You were like, we should go to the Chick-fil-A. And I was like, oh, you want chicken? Oh, let me just see real quick here.
Literally, guys, that week, I ate it 3 times. No, 4, actually, because I got it on the way home.
We only had it twice.
No. Was it twice?
Yeah.
What?
It was the first
well,
time
then I got
when we
it.
got back from
Six Flags.
Six Flags.
And then I went when I drove home.
Yeah.
So I had it 3 times that week alone. Thanks.
Because Max was mad because we didn't go to KFC, and I was like, yeah, because your chicken sucks.
But, I'm excited to once we finally start getting into more chapters because, like I said, this one was kind of short, but it was literally setting up the book. So it's kind of hard to have a big discussion when it's only the first 3 chapters of the book. I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably, once we get off here, I'm probably gonna start reading chapter 4.
Yeah. I will probably do that as well.
But I'm really...
I would hold up my book if I had one.
All right. Just because I have to. I've been off cam, and I look like a bitch. Oh, you mean this book?
You mean this book? This book? Yeah? That looks like a shirtless Sora.
Listen, you don't want to know how hot it is where Sora is.
It can't be that bad.
How hard it is? No, you're right. I don't want to know how hard it is.
How hot? How hot?
How hard are you right now?
It's 75, and tomorrow it's supposed to get up to 90s with feeling like it's in the hundreds. And I have to bike to work.
Ew.
Yeah. And I can't wear shorts.
Oh yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be 99.
I may say fuck it and be like, listen, if I wore pants, I was gonna die of heat stroke.
We're currently 82 degrees.
And work can yell at me later.
You know what you could do? You could wear shorts biking and bring a change of pants and change at work.
I mean, I could. Or I could just say I forgot the pants, and if they want to send me home rather than let me work in shorts. Because I'll just look at them and be like, listen, I needed to get here without passing out. And I forgot the
Yeah,
change of shorts. Or
but
change of pants.
we will definitely have a more fun discussion once we get chapters 4, 5, and 6 done. We will plan another day soon, T. I kind of want to, like, not saying that we can't read, but I kind of want to wait to get Sora caught up once he gets his books, so we can get into 4, 5, and 6 without him sitting here awkwardly, because I feel like he was sitting here awkwardly tonight, and I'm sorry, babe.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, for
you
sure.
know, yes, Streamlabs, I know my frame rate is shit because the computer's overheated. You don't need to notify me 20 goddamn times.
But we will end out in here, and that was fun. Sora,
It was
next
fun.
time you'll definitely be able to, Kat, I hope. I'm sorry, you have to
Mhm.
read 6 chapters at once.
Alright, any closing announcements you want to make, Val?
Mm, None
Misadventures?
that I none that I can think of, except stay tuned for the next episode.
What do we have going on?
I mean, we have Vecna Wednesday if people show up.
I'll be there.
Misadventuring this week on Friday, starting a new segment called Tales Around the Table. And then we have the D&D podcast on the 28th with Sora, myself, and Crit Crafters, and Unauthorized User. So, yeah.
So are we not having a legitimate session Friday?
Correct.
Wait, no, we're having session this Friday. And then the 28th was the Saturday.
So, yes, but it's not like session.
Oh, I thought we were having session.
We all.
You were running 2 nights in a row.
So I am, but
Or
I'm
should we-
also I'm taking and doing a recap podcast kind of deal with my players.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I will probably have it on the 4th. I'll have to talk to Raven with Bobbles because I will be away in Canada on the 11th.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Sounds good to me.
But I'm going to mute and do my final stuff, and I will talk to you guys if y'all are still here.
Okay.
All right, friends. So thanks for stopping in. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the first 3 chapters of Sunrise on the Reaping. I will have this on YouTube as well. And I am very excited to get into this book. It's one of my favorite books as far as series goes. So make sure you stick around for 4 through 6 and get our take on that. Stick around. We're going to raid out. We're going to raid out to gaming related. They're doing episode 37 of Thieves of Queens and Kings. They're doing Dungeons and Dragons. And let's go say hi, shall we? Let's go make some new D&D friends. D&D friends are always great. We love D&D friends here. Roll the misadventures. Don't forget, I will probably not be on tomorrow or Tuesday or Wednesday, ? Wednesday I will be on Sora's channel as we DM for Vecna and the Eve of Ruin. And then we'll see what happens from there. But Thanks for popping in, guys. Y'all are amazing. I will talk to you guys later. Mwah. Love you guys. Bye.
Hold on, hold on. So it says here, water walking is what broke this. A creature in the vortex can use its action to try to swim away from the